Hello guys, today I'm going to make this is a video for the Pearson Edexcel International GCSE Thursday 6 June 2019 paper with the paper reference 4MA1/2HR. So this is a mathematics A paper, so it's for higher tier. Always use black ink in your exam. Please do bring black pens for your exam, it's very important. Calculators are allowed, okay? Do not write anything on the formula page. Total mark for the paper is 100. Okay, so these are some criteria you need to understand. So maybe I might, the formula sheet was always given in the exam, so this would be good. This is for international GCSE mathematics. Start with the first question. I'll try to solve this paper as fast as I can based on it. I think I'll be just solving the most important questions for this paper. So write down the inequality shown on the number line. You can see the arrow points forward, so it shows to all the values that are not included for -3 and which are greater than -3 but not equal to -3, since the circle is not shaded. Solve the inequality. So in order to solve this inequality, it's just basic algebra. So you just do 3y less than equal to 8 plus 13 is 21, y less than equal to 21 divided by 3, y less than equal to 21 divided by 3 is 7, so y is less than 7. We're going to try to complete this past paper as fast as possible. This is under basic substitution of mathematics. Show that this improper fractions, when there's subtraction of improper fractions, show that they are equal to 211 by 12. Now, in order to do this, you have to understand how to solve this type of question. So you're going to put the times plus 5, 10, 15, 17 by 3, subtract 8 plus 3 is 11 by 4. Now you're just going to cross multiply this option, or you could just put it in your calculator, or preferably if you want to show the steps, that would be great. So you have 68 minus 33 divided by 12 is equal to 68 minus 33. Just put in your calculator, you should be getting 35 by 12. Now show the division process. In order to show the division, 12 times 3, so I think 12 times 2 is a better option. You have that as well. So 11, 12 by 2, this could be your answer, okay? You just write it down. 35 by 12 is equal to 2, 11 by 12. Let's move on to the next one. For this question, complete the table of values. All you need to do is just put the values together, and you should be getting -5. Just replace it like this. I'm not going to be doing it now because we have to just quickly skim through the video. Some of you guys have commented on me solving this math paper. So you just need to input each value for x into the equation, get the values. The values that you'll be getting is 5 as well as 5 here. 6 is -5. 2 marks you maybe can show it's working, but most probably they don't care about this part. Okay, and then you should be getting some values in close range, maybe up to here. Maybe you might get a graph somewhat like this, but this is not accurate, but this is just a graphical representation of what you must do in order to in order to solve this type of question. So it's somewhere here. Okay, you might have a graph there as well. Pull out the points. Somewhat graphical representation. Plot on your paper. You just need to plot the exact points, and you draw a smooth curved line. Maybe in this form, it's you have to draw some smooth curved line. Okay, so in this case, I'm just going to draw a random line, but it should be smooth. It's pretty important tips. Okay. Next portion is talking about A, B, C, and D. You have to circle triangles. Work out the length of DE. Now for DE, you need to remember the formula of scale factor. Scale factor is equal to the new length divided by the old length. So the new length is 40 centimeters divided by 16 centimeters. That is 40 divided by 16. That is about 2.5. So what you're going to do is you're just going to multiply this by 2.5. So 12 times 2.5 is equal to 30. The reason is because is the new length, right? The new length divided by the old length, right? So the new length divided by the old length should be your scale factor, or by the original. This could be the original as well. So this is 30 centimeters. Find the area of the triangle in meters cubed. Now, for the area of the triangle, in order to convert from centimeter cubed to meter cubed, you just need to divide by 100 square. So 525 divided by 100 square, that should give you about, divided by 100 square, put that in your calculator, you should be getting about 0.0525 meters. And I think if you want to convert the cm cube, just divide it by 100 square to get it, to convert it to meter cube. So you have 0.0525. This is your answer. Alright, this is something that you need to remember. Now factorize. This is a step that you can show, you can put in your calculator by just clicking on mode setup, I think. Just go to the equation part. But this way I'm just going to find two numbers that multiply to get minus 36 and two numbers that add to get minus 5. So two numbers that multiply by minus 36 and add to get minus 5 is minus 9 and 4. Since you multiply minus 9 times 4, you get minus 36. Minus 9 plus 4, you get minus 5. So you just put that in your equation, x plus 4, x minus 9. Right, that's it. You solve the next part. Now the next question is, there are some ice lollies. They're asked to find the probability of the flavor of the ice lolly that Julius takes as either strawberry or mint. So for this question, you need to understand the total probabilities, they all add up to 1. So you just need to do 1 minus all the other probabilities that are added together. So you can do this in order to find the probability for mint. You just do 0.35 plus 0.232, 0.12. You should be getting approximately 0.21. That's a probability for mint, right? So you're finding out the probability for mint. They have asked us to find out the probability of the ice lolly that Julius takes as either strawberry or mint. Now when they mention or, it means just addition. So you need to find out the probability of strawberry and just add it with the probability of mint. Now in order to do this, you just need to add both of these values together. You get about 0.53. Alright, you move on to the next question. A football team played 55 games. Each game was won, drawn, or lost. The number of games won and the number of games are drawn, ratio to number of games are lost. Work out how many more games the team won than the team lost. This is for 3 marks. So you need to find out the total of the parts. You do 6 plus 3 plus 2, and that should give you about 11 parts. So since they played 55 games, you have to work out how many more games the team won than lost. So you have to find out the number of games that the team has won. So 6 by 11 parts times the total games that are played, 55. There are 30 games that are won. And the games that are lost is 2 by 11 times the total games, 55. In order to part, this is a ratio question, so your ratio skills should be strong. There are 10 that are lost by the game. And how many more games the team won? You just subtract 30 minus 11. You should be getting about, sorry guys, this is 30 minus 10, so 30 minus 10, that should be giving you about 20. So that's the difference, 20, that's good, 3 marks scored. Next question talks about the highest common factor, HCF, AB. The highest common factor is the common factor that appears common between both values. So in this case, 3 by 2 is the max that comes in common with both of these numbers, times 5 by 3 is less than 5 by 4, so it comes most common together with 7 that comes in common. So you just need to understand the HCF rules. Just go over through the internet, just check it out there. 7,075, 7,875 should be our answer. Lowest common multiple are any values that are the highest amount of values, you should be taking that. So the LCM should be about, since 3 by 4 is greater than 3 by 2, we have 3 by 4. Since 5 by 4 is greater than 5 by 3, you have that as well. 7 by 11, just add. Since you multiply all of them, you should be getting about 3 3898125, 3898125. 1 to 5. This is your answer for 2 marks. Now you're going to write the next question is write this in standard form. Any value that is between 1 and 10 is in standard form. So we're going to make this 8.4 times 10 raised to the power 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times 10 raised to the power 5. That should be our answer. Work out the answer in standard form. Since this is division, we're just going to switch the sides together and just 6 divided by 8, and with the numbers that are raised to the powers, we're just going to divide them as well. This is following normal division of indices rules, so you must be strong in your indices. So you have 0.75 times 10 raised to the power 7 minus 2, 0.75 times 10 raised to the power 9, and we have to convert this value into standard form. It's any number between 1 and 10. In order to do this, you have 7.5 times 10 raised to the power 8. Okay, it decreases in order to get the same equivalent value. 7.5 times 10 raised to the power 8 should be your answer. Right, let's move on to the next question. Is Henry buys a yacht for 150,000 euros. It depreciates by 18%. Value of the yacht 3 years. Now, in order to do this, you have to remember the formula of new value is equal to the original value times 1 plus 1 minus, since it depreciates, it's decreasing down in value, divided by r divided by 100 all to the power n time in years. So you have 150,000 euros times 1 minus the percentage is 18 divided by 100, all raised to the power of years. There's a formula that it's pretty useful. Is new value is equal to original value times brackets 1 minus a plus, depending on if it's depreciating or appreciating, r divided by 100, all raised to the power n. So I'm using that formula. You guys can check it out if you want to. Since we have that value, so you have 18. Oh, the pencil battery is going down. Let's charge that up, right? Shall we? So it's 100 power of 3. Now, in order to do this, you get a value of about 82. Get a decimal value, 82705.2. We have to round it to the nearest euro, so that would be 5 here. That's 82705 euros. Next question, find the equation for the line L. Now, in order to do this, we have to remember the equation y equals mx plus c. So y equals mx plus c, where the m just represents the gradient, c just represents the y-intercept. So the y-intercept here is -1 because it passes through the y-axis at -1. The gradient, however, we can just take any 2 points on the graph, calculate the rise and the run. So the rise, in this case, it's rising by 2 squares divided by the run, it's going by 1 to the right, right? So since it's negative gradient, it should be -1 since it goes down. So the gradient is -2. Just put that in your values of -2x -1. That should be your answer. Y is equal to -2x -1. Alright, let's move on to the next question. Next question asks us to calculate the length of AB. Now, in order to calculate the length of AB, you have to calculate this length, right? So they've given you this length as well as the angle in degrees. You're going to use something called SOHCAHTOA. So in this case, you have the opposite, hypotenuse is given, so opposite is using TOA. So you have tan theta is equal to the opposite, that is BD divided by the adjacent. Actually, you don't use TOA, sorry guys, you have to use cos, I think so, you have to use cos, yeah. Cos theta is 32 degrees is equal to the adjacent, that is the no, actually guys, if you look at this, you have to label, you have to use sine, sorry guys, you have to use so you have to use sine 32 because it's saying the opposite, right? So the opposite here in this case is BD. Sorry guys about that. So it's BD divided by the 3.1. You multiply both of these values, you should be getting BD is equal to 1.6427. Now, based on finding BD 1.6427, you can find out what the length of AB is. You have opposite, hypotenuse, and adjacent. Adjacent and hypotenuse are given, so you're going to use So you have cos theta, it's 42 degrees, is equal to the adjacent 1.6427 divided by hypotenuse AB. AB is equal to 1.6427 divided by cos of 42 degrees. And once you put that in your calculator, you should be getting about 2.21 meters, right? So you have 2.21 meters should be your answer. Alright, let's move on to the next question for 5 marks. That's your working out. Okay, and the next question talks about cumulative frequency. So cumulative frequency is just put these are your x coordinates, cumulative frequency are your y coordinates. So you should be getting graph of above based on the assumption of drawing it out. You should be getting graph at these kind of points. Just looking at the graph, it's a bit you have to look at the points carefully. It's crossing over 16 by 2 squares, somewhere below that point as well. So you're going by 60, right? 2 squares above, and you're going by 70 above 2 squares above, and you're going by 80, and you're going using 80, and you're going 2 squares below by 100, 2 squares below by 100, and going by 90 by 100. So you just plot those good points using this concept. But for the x coordinate, you have to choose only these values, okay? So choose only these values. So for example, it's 40 comma x. These are your xy coordinates, and you're just gonna plot them on the graph there. Just draw a nice smooth curve line, something like this. So you have a nice smooth curve line. Remember that this curve line has to be smooth. So I'm just trying to draw a smooth, actually it's a bit challenging to draw the smooth line curve using the pen. It should be crossing this gradient, okay? So it should be smooth. Alright, it's very important. Next question is asking, use a graph to find out the estimated median length for time. So we know the cumulative frequency is just going to do half times 100. So now half of 100 is just 50. So you're going to look on the cumulative frequency graph. 50 should be somewhere here, right? And you could pull it down in the graph. 60, that should give you a value of about 58. You just look across down, you just have 58 minutes. Next one, you're going to find out the probability that the adult went for a walk was more than 72 minutes. So the number of adults who went for a walk less than 72 minutes. 72 minutes is about somewhere here. So you're going to check it out. So 72 minutes, you're just going to use this, maybe this value here. Scroll up, and you have a value of assumption, and just look up. Well, the value of there is 86, I think, approximately. You're going to take that value of 86. Number of adults who went walking more than 72 minutes was, you can just do 100 minus 86. 100 minus 86 is 14. Probability would be 14 out of 100. That is about 0.14. That's a probability. You just find out how many people went for a walk at that 72 minutes. And you subtract that from the total number of adults who went for a walk. Find out the probability, that is 0.14 should be your answer. Next question, you're going to move on to the next part. You're asking us to simplify. You're going to check the simplify fully. You're going to do x by 12 times 3 by 4 times 8 times y raised to the power 8 times 3 by 4 as well. Just do the multiplication here. You should be getting x is 9, y is 6. You're just going to write that down for 2 marks. This is using the concept of a raised to the power m is equal to a m times n. That's a rule of indices that you need to remember. Alright? Okay. Let's move on to the next question now. You have 3 raised to the power n is equal to 3 raised to the power x divided by 9 raised to the power y. You have to convert the 9 raised to the power y to 3. Now in order to do this, you have to understand that 3 raised to the power 2 is equal to 9. So 3 raised to the power n is equal to 3 raised to the power x divided by 3 raised to the power 2. So you have 3 raised to the power n is equal to 3 raised to the power x minus 2, because they're using the concept of dividing, right? So you have to subtract x minus 2. x minus 2, and remember, don't forget to leave the y value there, so you just put y there as well, and you have n is equal to x minus 2y. This should be your expression for n in terms of x and y. So you have x minus 2y. That should give you your 2 marks that you need to score on the exam. Alright, let's move on to the next question. Just remember to place that. It's very critical that you guys remember it, okay? AOC is the diameter of the circle. AOD is 98 degrees. Work out the size of the angle DBC, okay? So we have to find out this angle here. We know one thing is that the angle at the center of the circle is twice the angle at the circumference. So we know that angle, and plus we also know, since AOC is the diameter, we know that angle ABC is equal to 90 degrees, semicircle is equal to 90 degrees. Just put your reasoning. You have your reason written, okay? This is critical that you have your reason written, that the angle in a semicircle is 90 degrees. Since this is 90 degrees, and we can find out the angle ABD is equal to 98 degrees divided by 2. That's because you have 49 degrees. You have to write your reason. The reason is written as well. Since the angle at the center of the circle is twice the angle at the circumference, so you have 49 degrees and you have 90 degrees. To find out angle DBC, it's more likely to be 90 degrees minus 49 degrees. That should give you a value of about 41 degrees. Since imagine you have a triangle like this, you have found one angle here, you just need to find that smaller portion angle. You just subtract the larger angle with the smaller angle. Alright, so the larger angle minus the smaller angle, that should give you about 41 degrees. This is your answer. Let's move on to the next question. Find a formula of y in terms of x. Now, in order to do this, you have to look at the relationship given. Since y is inversely proportional to the square of x, you put that inversely proportional symbol. You have y is equal to k divided by x squared. Just put any value for k, for y and x. So in this terms, it was going to be 16 times x squared. I'm just multiplying these two values together. So once you find that out, you have 16 times 1.5 raised to the power squared. It's 36. K is 36. Don't leave it as the k is equal to 36. So that's y is equal to k, that's 36, divided by x squared. This is your answer for 3 marks. Given that x is greater than 0, find the value of x when y is equal to 144. So you're going to use the same equation that you found previously, and you're going to do x is equal to square root. Since you're multiplying them and dividing them, you have to understand that 36 will be divided and square rooted by the value that's stored, right? You have 36 divided by 144. This is a basic substitution. You have to know how to substitute values. You need to have strong grips on algebra. So 0.5 is your answer for 2 marks. This is basic substitution. You guys should be knowing this, right? Alright, let's move on to the next question. Is the table gives information about the first 6 digits terms of a sequence of numbers. Prove algebraically the sum of any 2 consecutive numbers of this sequence is always a square number. Just by looking at this, we can understand that we have to find, we can see that the value of the denominator is fixed, right? So if we find out the values, is 1 times 2 is 2, 2 divided by 2 is 1, so that's 1. So if we multiply all these values, if you find out these values individually, it's 1, it's going to be 3, this is going to be 6, this is 10, that's 10, this is 15, this is 21. Prove algebraically that the value of the denominator is fixed. If you can check that, these are all 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, and 2, right? So all the value of the denominator is fixed. Since we know that, what we can do is we have to prove that the sum of any 2 consecutive numbers of the sequence is always a square number, right? So now, in order to do this, we have to think about solving the question in order of the form n is to plus 1. So since we know what the unknown variable of n is, based on the question, we have to understand that n brackets n plus 1 divided by 2. So we have to find the unknown variable is n. Consecutive two terms is n plus 1, okay? So you have n brackets n plus 1 all divided by 2. Addition of n plus 1 n plus 2. This is something that you need to understand since the value of the denominator is fixed to 2. I'm just multiplying this value by the next consecutive value. Now doing this algebra by simplifying it, you should be getting n squared plus 2n plus 1. This should be a final outcome. I'm not going to be solving this, I'm just going to tell you how to do this. Once you find out, just solve it like any quadratic equation solving. You should be getting n plus 1, n plus 1 as well. So this shows that it is a square value. Okay, so this is n squared is 4 marks, so that should be enough. N plus 1 square. Okay. Alright, let's move on to the next question. Is that you have a function question. State which value of x must be excluded from any domain of the function f, right? So domain, just check out the denominators out. So when checking the denominators, it should not be equal to 0, right? So we're just going to put it as 0. Check which value of x we should exclude from this value, since they're asking to exclude it. So solving the algebra, you should be getting x equals 3 by 4. So x is equal to 3 by 4. That should score you 1 mark and should be a value that should not be allowed. That we should exclude. Otherwise 0 would be the answer for this question, and which is not technically allowed. Now you have to find fg of x. So what you're going to do is you're going to put the value of g of x and the value of the function f of x. So you have fg of x, that is equal to x minus 5 divided by x minus 5 minus 3. So you're putting g of x equation in this equation as well. So based on solving this, solve this and you should be getting about x minus 5 divided by 4x minus 23. That's 2 marks, okay? Express the inverse function of f minus raised to the power 1. So what you're going to do is you're going to write the equation down. Just write it down and just change the values of x to y, right? Except excluding this value, don't change this, just keep it x, and y 4y minus 3. So once you rearrange this, just rearrange to make y subject, right? Now once you make y subject, you should be getting something about this value of 4xy minus y is equal to 3x. Just make y the subject, and in this case you have the subject of y is equal to 3x divided by 4x minus 1. Now what you need to do is convert this y into f of inverse of x, right? So that's written there. You have 3x divided by 4x minus 1. Okay, that's simple and easy. Okay, plot part of the curve, work out the estimated gradient of the curve at the point where x is equal to minus 0.5. So 0.5 is somewhere at this point here. What you need to do is just draw a straight tangent point here. Just draw a straight line there, and you should be crossing the axis at a point where x is equal to minus 5, and that is this point here. And that point should store the value of your gradient. You can pick any point that you like. We're going to pick 10 here, and we're going to find out the gradient of that point. So the gradient of point 1 is about like minus 0. If you check it out, it's about 0. Actually, this is the value. This point stores the value of minus 1.5, but in this case we're going to pick some good values, such as minus 2.5. We're going to pick this point, and we're going to pick this point as well. So you have minus 2.5, 16 as well, and point 2 should be about minus 1.1, comma 10. Now you're going to find out the equation by y2 minus y1 divided by x2 minus x1. So that's about 10 minus 16. 10 minus 16 divided by minus 1.1 minus 0.2. Now for this question, the tangent you have to draw at 0.5, but any 2 points, you can take any 2 points that you like on the tangent line, okay? That should form like a triangle. You can take any point, so the answers could vary, and you should be getting approximately a value of 7. So 7 should be your answer there for 3 marks. Alright, let's move on to the next question. Next question is stating that AB is a chord, area of the sector, work out the perimeter. So what you need to do is find the perimeter of a sector. The perimeter of a sector is the arc length plus the radius, right? So for this question, we have to know the formula for area of sector. That is theta divided by 360 times pi r squared, and we have to know the arc length. So to find the arc length, we have theta divided by 360 degrees times 2 pi r. Perimeter of a sector is equal to the arc length plus the radius, that is squared. Alright, okay, because you're multiplying 2 times. So now in order to find this out, you have to find out the area of the sector. So the area of the sector is given to you as is 25, right? So you can apply the equation of theta is 80 divided by 360, right, times pi r squared is equal to, this is one equation itself, is equal to 25 by 2 pi. Now based on this equation, you have to rearrange it and make r the subject of the formula. You should get r is equal to 7.5 centimeters. So you just need to rearrange it, throw all the others, cut it out, cut the pi's out. You should be getting 7.5 centimeters. Since OA and OB are equal, right, we know that this is 7.5 centimeters and this is 7.5 centimeters. Alright, now what we have found is that value. Now based on this, you need to find out what the arc length is, right? So in order to find out the arc length, all you need to do is to find the arc length. You just input your equation, and you have 80 divided by 360 times 2 times pi times 7.5. You should be getting a value of about 10.471. Okay, so this should be a value for the arc length, and this is your radius. Okay, once we have found the radius, we can put the triangle form. This is 6 marks, so we have the triangle there as CAB. I'm just going to put that value of 80. I'm just inverting the triangle there. We have 7.5, 7.5. We need to find out what C is. In order to find out what C is, you have an equation C squared is equal to A squared plus B squared minus 2AB cos C. This is given in your formula equation sheet, but in the form of A. I'm just rearranging it in the form of C. So you should be getting C is equal to the 9.641. Since we have the values for A and we have the values for B and we have the degree for C, you should be getting 9.641. So your AB length is 9.641. 9.641. Okay, now all you need to do is find out the perimeter of the shaded section. So since we know the perimeter is the arc length, which we have found is to be 10.471 plus the line AB, that should give you the perimeter of the shaded segment. That's only this segment that you need to find for. So that is 9.641. Once you put 10.471 plus 9.641, you should be getting approximately 20.11. So 3 significant figures, that is 20.1. That should be your answer for 6 marks. 20.1 centimeters, 6 marks. This is your working out that you're going to do. Next question is work out the upper bound for the value x. Since this is 3 significant figures, you have 0.01 all divided by 2. This is some good revision, so you get plus of minus 0.5 times 10 raised to the power 3. Since it's 1 decimal place, it's 0.1 divided by 2. That should give you about 0 plus or minus 0.05. Now in order to solve this, since this is upper bound, we have to find out the max of x. So the max of x should be the minimum divided by the maximum, right? Since, actually, sorry guys, it's the opposite. Since it's a max of x, it's division rule, so you have to find the maximum divided by the minimum, right? So in the minimum, it just means the minimum of b minus the maximum of a. We have to find out the maximum of this value there on top. So since we know the upper bounds for A and B, so we have to do the max of A is equal to 6 times the maximum, that is 3.46 plus 5 times 10 raised to the power minus 3. This should be your value, all divided by the minimum of B. 6.3 minus 0.05 minus the maximum of A, that's 3.46 plus 5 times 10 raised to the power minus 3. So now if I'm putting this in a calculation, 3.46 plus brackets 5 times 10 raised to the power minus 3, I'm just putting all this in the form of equation form so that you guys can understand how this logic works. But it's not, it is a basic idea of how upper bounds should be calculated when dealing with max division. So you have 3.46 plus 5 times 10 raised to the power minus 3 brackets, and you should be getting approximately 7.464 to 3 significant figures, that is 7.46 only. And that should be our value, upper bound value 7.46 for 3 marks. Now let's move on to the next question. It talks about ball A, surface area 240 centimeters. Work out the surface, work out the volume of bottle A. Since we know what our surface area is, it's 240 centimeters square, and this is surface area for B is 540 centimeters square. You have the volume of 2025 centimeters cubed. Since we know we can find out the scale factor relationship in this form, so based on looking at the surface area, this scale factor is going to be the square root of both of the areas that are divided. So indirectly you're dividing both the areas together. Since this is a surface area, it should be scale factor is always squared. S just represents the scale factor. That's what you need to remember, right? So you get 1.5, that should be your scale factor. So your scale factor is 1.5. So since it's 1.5, you need to find out the scale factor for B as well. For volume it is cubed. For area it's squared. So since we know that the scale factor is cubed to 3, the volume of B is divided by the volume of A. Since we know the volume of B, we need to rearrange the equation in the form of volume of A. So you have volume of A is equal to the volume of B, that is given to us 2025 centimeter cubed, divided by the scale factor, it's 1.5 cubed, is equal to 600 centimeters cubed. That's 600 centimeters cubed. That should be your answer for 3 marks for this question. So let's move on. So next question is talking about completing the square format. What I like to remember is that we have to rearrange this equation in the form of ax plus x squared plus bx squared plus c is equal to 0. So we know that a is equal to -2 and b is equal to 12 and c is equal to 5. Now in order to do this question, we have to do -2 brackets. Now this is using the idea of completing square. You guys can follow any method that you guys enjoy. I'm just doing the method that I would like to solve this question. So this is basically dividing it by the values of a. Since the a constant is -2, you should be getting approximately 23 -2 brackets x minus 3 square is equal to 0. So that's 23 -2 brackets x minus 3 raised to power square. That's in the format. So you can follow any method. This is for completing the square, for you guys just to research on the internet what method that you should be following. So since this is following this method, I'm just following any type of method for completing the square, right? The next question shows a solid pyramid. Now let's get straight to the question. Total surface area is given. We have to work out the size of angle AC and the base. Okay, so we have to work out the angle AC along with the base. So we have a line that's given here, so AC should be this angle here. Now in order to find that out, we know that since this is a square, BC is equal, you can just quickly make an assumption that BC is equal to CD. So that's 10 centimeters square. You have a square given here, you have a cutting, you have 10 centimeters and 10 centimeters. You definitely have to use Pythagoras theorem to find the hypotenuse. since in square everything is 90 degrees, the angles are all 90 degrees, you're going to find out the hypotenuse, which is going to be the square root of the height square plus the base square. Now in order to find this out, you have the square root of these values, 10 square plus 10 square. Just going to quickly find out the value. I'm just going to put it in decimal form. It's 14.142. Now in order to solve that question, we have found out the hypotenuse as well. Since we know that O is a midpoint there, as O is about the center of base, we're just going to divide this by 2. We have to divide AC by 2, so 14.142 divided by 2. I'm just going to divide it by 2. You should be getting about 7.071. This should be your value for OC is equal to 7.071 centimeters, right? Once we have found out, we have to find out the height. That's the only way that we can find out its value. So since the total surface area of the pyramid is given, they've given us the total surface area in the formula sheet. So I'm just going to check it now. For a total surface area for the pyramid, since curved surface area is not given, but we can get an idea that the area of square, area of square is equal to 100 centimeters. That is because 10 times 10, you multiply that, you should get 100 centimeters. The area of four triangles is equal to 4 times half times the base, 10 times the height, which is not given. So that's going to be 20H. That should be your answer. Total surface area given is that. And your total surface area for that portion is your total, let's say, is your area of the square, plus the area of four triangles, right? Total surface area is area of square, it's 100 centimeters, plus the area of four triangles, 20 each. They're all equal to the total surface area of the pyramid, which is 360, right? And you have rearrange the equation, subtract 100 from 360. You have H is equal to 260 divided by 20. That should give you 30 centimeters. We have to work out the size of the angle. It's not done yet, so we have 13 centimeters. Since we know that, we can apply the triangle rule. We know that the height now of AOC, this is a triangle AOC, we know the height is 13 centimeters, right? Since we know that, we know the angle. And the angle is not given as well, so AOC has to be found. But we do know what OC is from the question above. OC is 7.071, or we can put that value and we can find out the value of AOC. So angle AOC is equal to, since the opposite and adjacent are given, you're going to use TOA, so tangent theta. So I'm just going to rub that out as well, so that you guys understand that part. So you have, since the tan theta is unknown, you have to do the theta is equal to the tan inverse of the opposite. That's 13 divided by 7.071. This should give you approximately value of about 13 divided by 7.071. Now in order to find that value out, you have to do 61.45. Based on the assumption by looking at it, OC is the value. AC could technically also be found, but OC is the base. And have we found out the height? The height of AO is given to us as 13. Alright, okay. We know the height as well. So since the height, we're going to use the height as an assumption. So we're going to rub this idea out, since it's almost correct. But if you need to be more accurate, you need to get the triangle formula, right? So the triangle of A, let's just draw a better triangle. So we have A, X, and C. So the value of X should be here, right? I think it's somewhere there. So AX is 13, you have CX is 5, centimeters, you're going to do a square root in order to find out the hypotenuse. That should give you about 13.928. Now we have the value of AOC, where AC is 13.928 and OC is 5, or let's say 7.071. You're going to find out the angle that's here. So you have the hypotenuse and the adjacent given to you. So this theta is equal to the hypotenuse and adjacent. That tool is going to be used here. Tangent is equal to the opposite divided. No, actually you're going to use, since the hypotenuse and adjacent are given. So hypotenuse and adjacent, you're going to use cos. Sorry guys, cos inverse is the adjacent. 7.01 divided by 13.928 divided by the hypotenuse. Put the value in order to get the degrees. 7.071 divided by 13.928. All in brackets, and you should be getting about 59.49. Since they've asked us to put it in 3 significant figures, just put it as 59.5 degrees. So you have 59.5 degrees. That is your answer for this surface area question, right? It's a pyramid value, so that's pretty good. Let's move on to the next question. Next question, this is something that I have posted in my video that you guys can check it out. So I posted a video on how to solve questions related to probability, so do check that out. And if you guys enjoyed the video, please do enjoy it. I mean, it's pretty fun actually solving these questions out. So a box contains marbles. 4 of the marbles are red, but the rest of them are yellow. Antonio takes a random marble from the box and does not replace it. Sergio then takes a random marble from the box. Probability that's both Antonio and Sergio. So you need to know that the number of yellow marbles, right? Yellow marbles is, just call it n, alright? And then red marbles, since you have red marbles of 4, we know that the total marbles is n plus 4. We can put, or maybe 4 plus n. Maybe a better rearrangement. So the probability of getting yellow and yellow is 0.7. How many marbles there were originally in the box? So the probability of getting yellow the first try, since she does not replace it, Antonia doesn't replace it, it's clearly stated there. So what you can do is that first probability of getting a yellow out of the total is 4 plus n times, since they both take a yellow marble, it should be related to multiplication, and you have to do n minus 1 since they do not put it back, and you're going to subtract that value as well. By subtracting this value, you should be getting approximately n divided by 4 plus n times n minus 1 divided by 3 plus n, alright, is equal to 0.7. The reason this conditioning is important is the conditional statements is 0.7 because the probability of taking yellow and yellow is 0.7, right? Now once you cross multiply these values or just cross them together, you should be getting approximately a value of n squared minus n divided by 7n plus n squared plus 12 is equal to 7 by 10. That is 0.7 is equal to 7 by 10. That's a nice way of doing algebraic fractions. Then multiply that, you should be getting value of about 3n squared minus 59 and minus 84 is equal to 0. Using this quadratic equation, you're going to use the quadratic formula. X is equal to minus b, since it's kind of, to factorize it, it's a bit challenging to do that, so you're going to use this formula. It's given in your equation sheet. Use that formula, use the concept of ax squared plus bx squared plus c is equal to 0 as well. You should be getting n is equal to minus 59 plus or minus square root minus 59 square minus 4 cubed brackets 3 minus 84 as well, all divided by 2 brackets 3. N should be, depending on addition or subtraction, if you're doing subtraction, your value that is subtracted is 21. You should be getting n as minus 4 by 3 as well. These are two values depending on whether you're adding or subtracting, okay? And you get the values of n. N is equal to 21 as well as, let's just erase all of this. Should be getting a value as n is equal to 21 or n is equal to minus 4 by 3. Since they asked how many marbles are there, you cannot take a fractional number, sorry. So it has to be a whole number. Since you can't have 0.2 marbles, it's technically not possible. So you have 21 marbles. Sorry guys, yeah, you have 21 marbles for, remember, that's a catch, right? You're finding the marbles for yellow. You're not technically, since n represents yellow marbles, so you cannot write 21 there. So you have to do the total, that is equal to 4 plus 21 marbles. That should give you 4, that's red marbles, plus the number of yellow marbles, that is 25 marbles in total. That should give you some good 5 marks. That's 100 marks per paper. So if you guys enjoyed the video, please do like, share, and subscribe. It really helps the channel a lot. And do comment below if you guys want me to solve questions on past papers or continue solving questions related topic questions. Please do comment below. Otherwise, if you guys enjoyed the video, please do share the video and subscribe to the channel. It really helps a lot. Otherwise, I think that's it. Please do enjoy the video. I think that's it, guys.